good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for making the time here this afternoon for this roundtable dialogue on the use of AI by classroom practitioner, presented to you by NIE English Language and Literature Department Teaching and Learning Committee. So my name is Poh, and my co-host is Shreen. She's in pink. I'm sure you can see her. Yeah, okay. And we want to thank our colleague Lynette for working behind the scenes to support us in this event. And right, so now we probably have many conversations about the use of AI where we talk to colleagues and friends, and this afternoon, our committee hopes to further that conversation and generate conversations on the use of AI in the classrooms particularly. So we therefore look forward to engaging conversations later. And we are happy today to have two primary school teachers and one secondary school teacher to have these conversations with us today. More about them when we introduce each of them to speak later. For now, I would like to tell you what's going to happen. First, we'll start off by inviting each teacher to share with us for about 5 minutes on what they are currently doing in the classrooms and using AI and the challenges that they have. And then during each teacher's sharing, we welcome both questions and comments in the chat, and we'll take it up. But priority will be given to live audience because I think we'll like a lively engagement conversations as well. So after all the three speakers have spoken, I'll then open the floors for comments and questions. And we'll love to hear both questions and comments, not just questions. And well, so now, as is popular in some TikTok videos, let's get to the good part. I'll pass the time to Shreen to introduce the first two speakers.
Thank you, Poh. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you again for joining us this afternoon. So let's dive right in with our first speaker, Miss Renee. She's a senior teacher for English language at Punggol Primary School, and she's also currently an ICT subject mentor in e-pedagogy. So over to you, please, Renee.
Okay, hi everybody. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so thank you, Shreen. I think she's already mentioned that I'm an EL ICT subject mentor. I currently teach the mid and upper primary levels, so these are the levels that I'm most familiar with. Yeah. Let me just share with you some things that I'm currently doing with AI in my classroom. I use AI a lot for whole class interactions. And when I say whole class interactions, I mean I'm the teacher who's interacting directly with the AI and typing everything in, but my students are the ones who give me the input as to what to say most of the time. How I do that is through what I call the 4T chatbot. We named it Guy, and that cute picture you see there actually is how Guy looks like. We came out with Guy together, and Guy has now become the 41st member of our class. So we do a lot of interaction with him. He helps me to model digital literacy skills and to teach peer feedback skills as well. With my primary 5 class, we just use the generic OpenAI platform. I use AI a lot also for writing feedback, and I hope to be able to share a little bit about the research that I have done with a group of teachers from primary to JC levels. We looked into the receptivity of students towards AI-generated feedback, and through that process also was a lot of thinking about how to personalize feedback in order for it to be better to feed forward. Of course, I think a lot of us use AI to prepare resources, to do reflections. And if you look at the bottom of my screen, I have this app there called AudioPen. I use AudioPen to help my students practice oral skills. In doing all these things, of course, I think we have the concerns and challenges that we all face. One of them really for me is going beyond the hype. There's a lot of hype with AI, there's a lot of apps out there, and I really want to go beyond that hype. I want to find some kind of balance, and quite worried about how to go about doing that, given that AI moves at such a fast pace. In primary school, we also have the problem with age restrictions. We can't have the kids directly interact with AI because they're below 13. Yeah, so that's something that I kind of have to figure out how to work around. In the research that I mentioned earlier, we also found that there are some issues with how reliable AI can be. I think many of us have seen the example of the strawberry, find how many R's there are in strawberry, and AI gives different answers. With feedback, it's a lot more complex. So sometimes it's hard to sieve out what's reliable and what's not. And even if you have very reliable feedback, that's, really quality feedback, it doesn't necessarily translate to students doing anything about the feedback. So the translation to behavioral engagement is something that I'm concerned about. Apart from that, there's also the problem with language being a barrier. I teach a lower progress class this year, and that is really a problem that I have, because even if they receive the AI feedback and they're happy to receive it, they may not know how to decipher what AI is talking about. And as my senior teacher, in my senior teacher role, one of the things that I struggle with is that in the demographics of my school, we have a very big gaps in our teacher readiness towards ICT in general, and furthermore AI, and also the buy-in. So, a lot of teachers are like, oh, this is all hyped up. And then some teachers are like, okay, we really have to do this, but they may not know how to be discerning in terms of the use of AI. So moving forward, really, my plans or my ideal future is really to look into how we can build digital literacy and discernment amongst both teachers and students. And my immediate plans at the moment are to look into metacognition with the use of AI. I think we want to build self-regulation, self-awareness, both amongst teachers and students. And the team that I did the research with previously, we're planning to do a follow-up research to look into how we can have metacognitive routines within the use of AI with our students and see how that will help them. For the teachers wise, I would really like to look into what the teachers really use AI for, and help them, help my school come up with ideas or recommendations based on the insight that we gather through some data analysis. So I think if you saw my previous slide, my school subscribes to something called Brisk Teaching. So it's going to be sending me the usage profile every month, and that's one of the ways I'm going to collect data in order to gain some insight into it. I also am doing a lot of teacher clinics and sharing of resources. Sometimes it's strange that AI is supposed to make things faster and better, but when we're all grappling, it actually makes things slower because we're all trying to learn how to do it, and we're all doing the same thing. So I think I want to help teachers really find a way to use it efficiently and mindfully. Yeah, so that's really me in that 5 minutes that I'm allowed to say anything. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to field them later. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Renee. Thank you very much for getting us started. Yes, we will take the questions, thoughts, and comments later. I'll now like to welcome our second speaker, Mr. Bala, who teaches English Language and Science at North Spring Primary and has received the Gold Innovation Award at the Singapore International Science Teachers Conference. Over to you, please, Bala.
Thank you very much. Can you guys see the screen all right now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. It's nervous. I normally used to speaking for much more than 5 minutes, so I'll try to keep this succinct and I won't go too much into detail. So I think a lot of my application this year has been informed about basically what the needs analysis that I conduct with my kids, and they have repeatedly told me that, especially with regard to writing, they often find it difficult to decipher or unpack the annotations from their teachers, like even before they came to my class. Also, by the way, I take a P4 middle progress as well as a P6 high progress class for English. So in my adventures with AI this year, I've largely been focusing on the areas of differentiation, motivation, and about how to scaffold certain aspects of writing for them, alongside the elements of the providing better feedback and preparing better lessons for as part of the guidelines of the STP. So I apologize for how text-heavy this might seem, but actually that ties in nicely with why or how AI has been a very, very good partner in crime for me this year. It's like, to put it simply, one of the problems that we will always face as teachers, I feel, is the time crunch. And while we want to give the best kind of feedback we can, we have to navigate that with other concerns like time. So how AI has helped me this year in two particular GPTs that I've been training. So the first one has to do with the other elements of English, the grammar, comprehension in particular. So what I did is that I basically trained it to look at the past PSLE papers and all that, and then I used it as a kind of I have discussions with it when I'm setting my questions in terms of analyzing my text difficulty, the inference levels of the questions, and also then I can leverage on it to explain certain answers and all that. So all these things I realized when I pass it on to my students, like after the paper when we go through, they actually really appreciate how it can unpack certain things that teachers might take for granted in terms of inferences and all that. The other bot that I've been training is the one to do with writing. So again, this is where a lot of time has been saved or used effectively, I feel, because while I might be able to, like for example, I get feedback from my different students, what do they need help with? And a lot of them share, like, oh, I need a lot of examples. When you say show not tell, what do you mean? Or when you say develop with relevant details, what do you mean? So one very simple way, but effective way that AI has helped me is that it can easily generate many instances of such examples in a fraction of the time. So alongside this, it can also, the OCR technology, I love it. It can read the chicken scratches that my students submit to me accurately, and then not only, depending on the feedback, so I can differentiate it. Depending on whether I want to give feedback on the content, of course, maybe I should add that, prior to this, I have to train the GPT with positive examples of language and what I consider good, the rubrics for writing and all those things. So then what happens is that there is a huge variety in the types and the amount of resource creation that I can produce for them easily. So again, this is another example where this child came to me and said, no, I said show not tell, what do you mean? So all these are student-specific examples from their pieces of writing. So another way I'm still exploring using the ChatGPT is I want to see progress between drafts of writing. So I might have marked draft 1, I would have given certain feedback, and then I'll run it through the GPT again and I will get it to analyze, hey, what do you think are the differences between the first and second draft? And then I can also see a few things, like was the child able to take up my feedback effectively? Did they make relevant changes? Of course, not everything that the GPT says I will take at face value, because, okay, now I'll go into that later. But it does help me see whether there is a progress. So motivation is the latest addition to the KAT. So another simple example that I came across, we were doing the unit on the Bawah Brigade about how animals can be companions or help their humans. So as an extension, when I give them a piece of writing, what in your mind or imagination would you want to, what kind of animal companion would you want to have? And then I just told them a simple thing. I am art handicapped, but thankfully Dali isn't. So I said, if your writing is something interesting, unique, I would gladly get Dali to generate it in the form of a picture. So I have video gaming dogs and very helpful octopuses in cleaning. So this might be very simple for ChatGPT, but without the use of such tools, I would not be simply able to do it at all. I think Renee also mentioned this. A concern I have is the reliability of AI. So this is a very recent phenomenon where the GPT is unable to count, apparently, the number of R's in a word. So why this is an issue is that to many students that I'm teaching, AI, whatever it says, comes across as like the gospel. They take it as the gospel. They will trust anything it says, which goes against the very nature of being a discerning user of the internet and technology in general. So in this way, it can actually become a liability. Also, I will face the very common challenges of to do with integrity, students passing off work written by the GPT as their own. So all these are challenges that make me also question, how do we move towards student-centeredness while respecting the need for safety? Because we know there is a age restriction, we know that they can easily misuse AI, but nonetheless, I think we also want to move from just mostly teacher-directed implementations of AI in the classroom, and instead foster more collaboration and allow them to explore or navigate these problems, because these opportunities in a way would be a golden opportunity for them to experience what it's like out there in the world. So I think that is the gist of my sharing. Thank you. I think I overshot. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Renee and Bala, for your sharing, and Shreen, yeah, for hosting that. Now, our next speaker, so you heard from two primary school teachers, and our next speaker is a lead teacher from Canberra Secondary School. And he's going to share with us his experiences of using AI in his classroom, in his teaching, in preparing for teaching. Now, Ghazali, if you talk to him and he can tell you a list of AI tools that he has been experimenting with, and you probably can't stop him from talking about those tools. And he's been invited to talks in local schools here, as well as at clusters level. And he was featured also in a CNA program for his use of AI tools in his classroom. And here he is, Mr. Ghazali.
Thank you, Dr. Poh. That was a succinct and very good introduction. ChatGPT couldn't do any better. So well done. Okay, so Bala, don't worry, okay? You overshoot a bit, is fine. I sent my slides to ChatGPT to check, and it says, no way is this a 5-minute slide deck. This is at least a 20-minute sharing. But I'm here to prove AI wrong because they are not always accurate, right? So I hope it was hallucinating. So I shall share with you now my slide deck. Dr. Poh, don't start the timer yet. I haven't started sharing. I purposely started slowly because
No timer.
Cheating, huh? Yes.
Don't worry, Ghazali, we have time. Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Swap presenter view. Okay, so do you see the my slide deck?
Yes.
Full screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay, 5 minutes begin now, right? Okay, so my job is to show a broad scope of all the AI tools that are out there. Not all, but those that I've tried and I find very effective, and how it's used, especially in the English language classroom. Because like my two colleagues mentioned, it's not very good at counting. You can't count up to 3, but actually if you give it a proper prompt, it may be able to. But one thing definitely is good for is languages, and that's where we are at, right? English language. And this is a large language model. It's about languages. So let's begin. Let's go straight to AI tool that I use, which is text to speech. So this is an example of text to speech where you give a text and it will churn out a speech.
Will you go back to that vegan restaurant?
I doubt if I could afford it very often.
I guess you're paying for the decor and location as well as the food.
Thinking of it like that, I suppose it wasn't unreasonable. They could have put more thought into how the...
Will you go back to that vegan restaurant?
Okay, so you heard the voices?
Yes.
Play. Okay, good. So, and what is interesting is the accent behind the voices. So usually during the listening comprehension exams, my students come out of it and say that they don't understand the accent, so they can't prepare, they can't answer the questions well. So what we do, we use AI text to speech, as you can see here. AI text to speech can generate the text for our students, and it can generate them in many multiple different accents, so they can get a use to the different accents of the different native speakers, right? So they will be able to prepare for the exam better in that sense. And also, do you know how much we spend? We spend on vendors to provide us the listening comprehension materials for our exams. Some budget set aside is up to $1,500 to $2,000 a year, right? Imagine 300 schools. If we do this ourselves, we're already saving nearly $500,000 a year for MOE. So those from MOE, right? I'm saving you $500,000 if you implement this, okay? Dr. Poh, this is our poster. Next, we move on to text-to-image generation. Text-to-image generation is something that's been developed very quickly, very fast. These are posters for today's talk that I generated within 30 seconds for Dr. Poh. As you notice now, it can not only generate pictures, it can generate words in those pictures. Amazing, right? Imagine our paper that has the visual text involved. Now you can generate the paper easily, just like this. Okay. And now let's take a Turing test. Turing test is a measure of how good AI at producing lifelike images, right? Okay. So everybody, take a look. I'm going to show you just 1 second, 4 pictures. Tell me if these pictures are AI generated or real pictures that I've taken from the internet. Okay, ready? Of course, we begin with this. Next picture, this one. Next picture, this one. Next picture, this one. And last one, this one. So were those pictures generated by AI or which ones were generated by AI? Can you tell? Dr. Poh, can tell now?
The second one, I think, looks a bit artificially created. Not this one. Not this one, I think.
This one?
This one.
This one. Why? The skin too smooth, is it? You don't like smooth skin?
Well, I can't change that part of me, but it looks...
Yeah, but you're true. Okay. Don't worry, you're right. They are all artificially generated. Amazing, right? Yes, even this one. And you can tell how, look at the lanyard. It's gibberish. But just to show you how powerful the text to image generations now are, this is generated by Flux One, which was just released 2 weeks ago. Okay. And this is also, this is generated, the next picture is generated by Art Guru. It shows you my pastime, what I'm doing with my pastime. I'm running for the presidency. Right, so these are the things that we are afraid of right now, that it is so good that it can create deepfakes. Okay, so vote for me. But let's go back to the O-level exams. How do then we use these pictures? This is the 2016 text from the comprehension paper, right? So there were many reasons to love the marina. He thought like waking up to the uplifting smell of the sea, which fluttered like a scarf around the boats and extended like satin towards the horizon. My students can't understand because it is too metaphorical. So what we can do is then we feed it into the image generator, and you can see here, it's trying to create the satin smell. Of course, you can't see smell, but at least the art generator is trying to create how satin looks like. So you can show it to your students and they can get a visualization of how metaphor works in the mind. Okay, so here is the horizon. And in the horizon, you can still see it's trying to generate the smell wafting towards the horizon. So it's trying to create the image from the text. And this text is from the 2016 O-level paper. So you can use this to enable them to visualize finally what's in your mind as you read can be shown on screen, or a generation of it, right? A version of it. Okay, Gen AI for comprehension skills. Let's do another Turing test. Which of these are O-level from the O-level text? The one on the left or the one on the right? Which one is an O-level text and which one is generated by ChatGPT? Okay, only 10 seconds. If you can't tell, good, because now we use ChatGPT to mimic the O-level text. We are hacking, I won't say hacking, we are decoding the Cambridge exam, okay? So we can now produce a text that mirrors the standards of the Cambridge exam, okay? Right? So if we can do this, imagine I can set a paper, not just sets the questions like this, the text like this of the standard of the O-level, but even mimic the questions. So I can ask ChatGPT produce the questions that are similar to the O-level standards, and these are the O-level questions that came out last year. So if you look at question 6A and look at question 6B on the right-hand side, and then question 6B and 6A on the other side, you just notice that they swapped it, but it is very, very similar. These are the questions generated from those texts you saw just now. Okay, the one which is the O-level actual one and the one that is ChatGPT generated, it is very closely mirroring the standards of the O-level. So my students can actually take the 2016 paper as if they had sat for it that year. So let's move on. AI has now entered the realm of multimodality, right? So multimodality, it can now generate, to prepare my students for the oral exam, there's this new section called the plan response. So they plan the response and then they speak, right? They have 10 minutes to plan. And this is the report that can be generated. And guess what? This is freely available to everybody. This is from PowerPoint. PowerPoint can do this. So PowerPoint will generate the report, even tells them, this is interesting, your pace is just right, keep it up, all right? Or your average pace is over time, okay? So basically, amazing feedback again. It's very good at giving feedback. And this is another use when you put it all together, text to image, text to sound, the images itself, ChatGPT, you can create things like this.
Hi, my name is Shakespeare. I am an AI-generated avatar designed by Ghazali.
So you can create characters. Our students can now speak to Shakespeare. You can upload Shakespeare's entire collection into the ChatGPT. Its memory now is that large. And then the students can ask about any text. And then you can create avatars like this for it to interact with.
Hi,
All right. So then the question is, will AI replace human teachers? Okay. So it depends on how we set things up. Will this happen? A long time ago, teachers were human beings. Okay, this is what teachers are fearing. I'm going to show you what the latest cutting edge technology can produce. Somebody like this.
Hi, I am a Gen AI avatar created by Mr. Ghazali. Using generative AI to create realistic avatars that function as teachers is an exciting and rapidly evolving concept.
Okay, so this is how realistic it can get. But we are still not there yet simply because of because of this. It is very expensive. Even though the prices are going down, if you can see, $29 a month I paid for. I can now unlimited video generations, but the videos only last up to 5 minutes. My lessons are 1 hour long. So yeah, I hope for the day when the price really goes down. Never mind. The challenges, according to research as well, this is a big issue. Student becoming over-reliant on AI. Okay, become too dependent on AI tools, and it hinders the ability to develop independent writing and critical thinking skills. This is in the jargon is called cognitive atrophy, right? So it's using AI too much. So is that a problem? Then another, quality and accuracy of AI outputs, as my colleagues mentioned. Sometimes it hallucinates, sometimes it gives you the wrong things. And sometimes because of the data is being fed, it could also give you culturally wrong things as well, okay? And of course, ethical concerns. Our students using AI to write their essays, do their homework, and then teachers end up marking 40 pieces of homework that is ChatGPT generated with few mistakes. And then we ask why they failing our mid-exams. Oh, sorry, now we took away the mid-exams. So why are they failing our tests? Okay, so future plans. I'm glad to be at this frontier stage of AI in education, especially in English language. What do I foresee the future of education? I hope one day when the students turn on their SLS, the student learning space, right? And instead of seeing multiple choice question fill in the blanks or empty boxes to fill in, they actually encounter something like this.
Ah, good day, young scholars. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and I believe we have a most intriguing mystery on our hands. I have come to seek your assistance in solving a perplexing case, one that I believe only minds as sharp and observant as yours can unravel. This, my dear students, is the object of our investigation, the red letter. Help me analyze the tone, style, and diction to discover who sent this to me.
All right. And with that, I will leave with wise words from a superhero. With great power comes great responsibility. So with that, as AI is getting more and more advanced, as we can do more and more things, our students also have access to these things now. It's on WhatsApp, it's on Meta, and those things that they have are really, really very powerful. What then do we do about the way that we handle it, in the classroom? Things like homework must change. You cannot give a piece of homework that says describe a scary place. Yeah, it used to take them 1 hour, 2 hours to finish. Right now, it only takes them 30 seconds. So that's how we have to change and adapt to the transforming landscape of AI in education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ghazali.